Hey everyone, Megan O'Leary here in Las Vegas, and I am joined by the UFC bantamweight champ and star of UFC 207's co-main event, Dominick Cruz. Dominick, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, good to be here.
3 fights in 2016. Did you ever think you'd get to this point?
I try not to look ahead and try to just stay where I was at, but you never really know. I mean, you just never know what your body's gonna do. I hoped.
Now that it held up and the hope has prevailed, physically, how do you feel? Is it nice to wake up feeling like a normal person?
Yeah, it's odd because I just feel so in sync for this fight. I mean, the first fight back this year was real painful. It was literally probably the hardest fight in fight camp of my life. And I just had an injury early on in that camp, so I couldn't do the things I needed to after I was already out for a year. So, plus the year off, I just got real big and out of shape and fat. And so I just had a lot of stuff that I had to overcome for that fight. Then I got through that tough fight. I knew that was gonna be the toughest one with where my body was at. And then I fought again, and my body felt stronger, much stronger for that one. And then now, I've gotten through all the kinks through those 2 fights this year. I feel like my body feels in unison now. My flow is back. I feel much more durable for this fight.
Talk to me about burying the hatchet with Faber. Was it nice to kind of have that little bit of closure on the desk when you were able to present him with that and kind of shake his hand and have that be done?
Yeah, I have no beef with him. Realistically, everybody thinks that I hate this person, and I've said it in every interview. I choose not to hate anybody. I don't hate Cody either. I am fighting a human being. It takes a specific mentality to go in there and risk life and death on that night. And that's what I put myself into on that night. That's what I put myself into leading up to these fights. And that's what I'm gonna put myself into. That's the mentality I'm gonna have until I know that I'm not gonna have to fight this person again. I shut Faber out. He never touched the UFC belt. He never ever will. Why do I need to keep holding anything onto that? It's done. He beat me back in 2007. I appreciate all the fights I had with him. That fight made me a better athlete. It made me a better man. It made me a better fighter. I appreciate the loss that I had. I'm glad that he was arrogant about it because it fired me up. And it also showed me how to not act.
Do you feel like you're still sort of climbing up the mountain to the peak?
I think that this fight right here will be one of my best performances in a long time. My body feels in sync, my mind feels right. I'm just so healthy. I didn't have any injuries in this whole camp. That's rare, it is. The last time I went through a camp with no injuries like this was when I fought Takeya Mizugaki. And that was because it was a 3-round camp. So because it's a 3-round camp, I have way less rounds, so the margin for being tired and getting hurt is less. But I had a camp like that for a 5-round fight this time. My body just held up really well because of the first 2 fights I had this year. I have momentum on my side. I haven't had momentum on my side in a long time, so it feels good.
Yeah, it's got to. Let's talk about the opponents, Cody Garbrandt. There were discussions before this matchup was made that maybe he wasn't necessarily the most deserving of a shot, but there was a lot of appeal. Cody's got this unbeaten record, he's got all these knockouts, and they wanted to see him be able to challenge you for the belt. Did you think he was the correct matchup to make for you?
For me, the beautiful part about this is I fight and I can just be grimy me. Like, I can be as mean as I want to. I can say what I want to say. I don't have to candy coat anything. And with Cody, he makes that easy. I mean, he's come at me very aggressively since the very first time he laid eyes on me.
Dominick Cruz, where you at? I just knocked him out faster than you. I'm gonna break your jaw. One round.
Hey, get in line! Get in line! He wasn't just after me to fight me. He was after me with his words, with his mentality, with his opinions of what he thinks I am and who he thinks I am, which he has no clue about. So right off the bat, those are the people you fight in real life, and those are the people especially you want to fight in prize fighting. So he made it easy to fight this guy.
And then when you look at it stylistically, as you do as a fighter and an analyst for your other job, what do you take away from him?
Well, when I look at his style, he's willing to take one to give one. That's his biggest gift because his ignorance is his bliss. So he's missing certain things. He's knocked everybody out in his pro career so far, almost, except for one fight he went to decision. And so that gives him this mentality that he's unbeatable. He's got this unbreakable type of thought process. It somewhat reminds me a little bit of Shane Carwin in certain ways, you know? Beating people in a lot of the first rounds, the second rounds, knocking everybody out, feeling unstoppable. But you know, everybody saw when you put Shane Carwin on his butt, when you drag him into that deep water, things change. You're forced to deal with different things that you haven't had to see in that octagon before, and that's something that it's my job to go out there and show them.
Well, most of the time when people fight you, they haven't seen anything like you. When they prepare in camp, they think they've got it down, but then they step in the octagon with you and it's nothing like they thought it would be. However, do you feel like you're getting a good look at what Cody might bring when you have guys like Jeremy Stephens in your camp?
Yeah, I do. That's exactly what this is. It's trying to, the best thing you can do in this game is try to build the person you're fighting in your camp. I have so many good guys at Alliance Training Center, Wilson Hayes, Jeremy Stephens. I brought in a lot of pro boxers for this camp with crazy winning records. I mean, Cody competed at an amateur level in boxing, but never at the real high pro level. I'm confident in the things that I bring to the table because I can build Cody in there. I gotta bring in boxers, I gotta bring in kickboxers, and I gotta bring in guys with good takedown defense. I've seen that in my camp this whole time, and I've got all those guys at Alliance Training Center. It's been proven time and time again, they can't replicate exactly what I'm going to do in there on that night. And the reason is because I'm fighting with intelligence to put myself in the smallest margin for error, where all his camp is focused on, I'll eat what you have and hit you harder. I'm stronger than you, I'm faster than you, and I'm tougher than you. If you're stronger than me, and more athletic than me and tougher than me, that's just your perception. There's no factual basis behind that. So you're building your entire repertoire and you're building all your confidence on the fact that you have those things, which there's no proof of. Everything I do in these fights is to prepare myself for what I have proof of seeing. I don't know his speed, I don't know his strength, I don't know his athleticism. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and say he beat me on all those things. Just to look at worst case scenario.
Better safe than sorry
Better
mentality.
safe than sorry. And then from there, I can come up with a plan B, a plan C. And then, as long as I am faster, stronger, and more athletic on that night, now I have an ace in the hole. And so I kind of have alternate routes compared to them. And they're unwilling to look that way because they have such a positive mentality. They're so positive, think positive, visualize, have faith, believe. And I get that, but they do it so much that it's to ignorance, and they give no credit to the opposition. And the opposition has always been me.
When I spoke to Cody yesterday, he said that something he has going for him is the fact that you haven't been able to really see him grapple that much. What do you think about his skills on the canvas? Have you seen anything, or is it one of those circumstances where you're saying, I'm just gonna assume he's a black belt on the ground?
No, I mean, yeah, again, you can't assume anything. I'm not gonna assume he's terrible. I'm gonna assume that he is a black belt. I'm gonna assume that he's as good as Faber on the ground. Okay, I took Faber down and I can hold Faber down too if I want to, for enough time to break the rhythm and do what I need to on my feet. This whole game isn't about having only one option. It's about being able to mix it up so that the whole game plan works together as one. I don't need to just take him down and out-grapple him. I don't need to just stay up boxing and kickboxing with him. I need to put it all together to make it one fluent style, one fluent movement. And as long as I can do that, it doesn't matter how good or bad he is where, because I'm using everything. I don't know what's going on with anybody's grappling. I haven't grappled with any of the past 23 people I've fought. So he could be Marcelo Garcia for all I care. It doesn't matter. I'm confident that I can go to the ground with anybody. And I will make the adjustments where the adjustments need to be made. If I take him down and I feel uncomfortable, I'll stay standing with him. When he's striking, I'm gonna wrestle him. When he's wrestling, I'm gonna punch him. When he's wrestling, I'm gonna use jiu-jitsu. I mean, I just gotta keep him guessing.
Where does emotion fit into this?
I really have no emotion right now. It's not time. Now's the time for composure and peace and just save it. I have a time where I can just use it all up, and I've got 25 minutes, and that's plenty of time. So what's the point of yelling, screaming, cussing, just to look a certain way or paint a certain picture? I have nothing to paint. We're gonna fight. It's happening. The date is made. So right now, it's like, I have no reason to fight. I have no reason to make a bunch of loud noises. I have no reason to be mad at him. It's a fight. We're fighting. It's very simple. I don't understand where the emotion can be so much, especially for him. I mean, I look at him and he's very emotional. There's no other way to put it. You can see it in the interviews. He's mad, he's angry. I get that, and I see it, but For what? I don't know.
Do you feel like within that 25 minutes inside the octagon that will be a difficult thing for him to possibly keep under control? The fact that sometimes guys say, you know, I got too emotional in there, used my cardio, used a lot more energy than I wanted it to. Can you foresee that possibly happening?
You can try to foresee that. And this is the way my brain works. I can try to foresee, oh, his emotions could get the better of him, make him use too much energy, but again, I'm guessing. That's an opinion. There's no factual basis behind that. So what's the point of even adding that to the equation? There is no point to that. So I say I'm focused on the fact that he's going to be as focused as me. And if he is, then I get the best Cody Garbrandt, and that's the challenge that I'm looking for. I want the guy who can bring me the nastiest, grimiest fight possible, because that's how I step my game up to evolve into a better person. Each one of these fights is challenging myself. I've had 23 fights. I've had the title since 2010. I've lost it, I've won it back. I've done all these things. I am the pound for pound best fighter on earth. That being said, I've accomplished the goals that I want in this fight game. On that note, the next thing, I'm on another whole agenda. I'm here to grow as a man, as a person, evolve into a different human being each one of these fights. So there's constant motivation in that. It's very difficult because every one of these guys is a different puzzle to solve. And that's why I like these new matchups, and they're just so fun for me because it's a different puzzle, it's a different type of challenge, it's a different type of mentality to deal with. He's so emotional and such a wreck that it's interesting to me. It's kind of like, whoa, this is different.
Before I let you go, I want to get your take on one other fight that's happening at UFC 207 that obviously you're going to have some interest in, whether it's on fight night or after, but it's the Lineker-TJ Dillashaw fight.
Lineker versus Dillashaw is a cool matchup. I think I'd see it very similar to me versus Cody. I think Lineker is Cody, and I'm similar to TJ in the styles that we fight. I mean, everybody knows that TJ looked at the model that I built over the years, and he had to emulate me for years upon years when he was at Team Alpha Fail. So that being said, whether he wants to admit it or not, he took a page out of my book to be successful. So I see those pages that he's used making him successful against a power punching, flat-footed fighter like Lineker.
Do you believe whoever wins that fight should be next in line to challenge for the belt?
I don't really care. I want the best fights that all the eyes in the world are gonna see. And so far, TJ Dillashaw bores people. You can look at any of his buys, any fights that he's been in, and his fights are exciting, but where are the numbers? Where's the push? Where do people go out of their way to turn on the TV when TJ Dillashaw or Lineker fights, or Cody Garbrandt? People are watching me fight because they either want to see me lose or they want to see me win. And I'm the best 35-pounder that ever lived on this planet right now, and that's why people are tuning in to watch these fights and watch me either lose or win. These guys are chasing me. I don't really care who I fight next.
I cannot wait for your fight on Friday night here in Las Vegas. Prediction?
Hands up, walk out with my finish, which is the belt.
And still.
And still.
Best of luck to you, Dom.
Thank
Thanks.
you.